Immigrants in the U.S. illegally fight the Trump administration's new no-bail policy. A class action lawsuit has been filed challenging the Trump administration's new policy requiring immigrants illegally in the U.S. who are arrested by Immigration and Customs Enforcement to remain in detention while fighting their deportation. It's an abrupt reversal of long-standing practice of allowing individuals who are deemed not a flight risk or a public safety threat to be released on bail while their cases move through the immigration court system. The new policy was outlined in an email to all ICE employees on July 8th. The agency said it was using its extraordinarily broad authority to change its interpretation of existing law. As a result, even individuals who have been living and working in the U.S. for decades, with deep community ties, fall under the same law as those just recently caught entering illegally and must remain locked up. ICE officials say the policy aims to keep America safe by closing loopholes that allowed millions of unvetted illegal aliens to be released into communities, according to Department of Homeland Security spokesperson Tricia McLaughlin. But advocates for migrants are asking a federal court in California to block it. It's a misinterpretation of the law, says Matt Adams, legal director for the Northwest Immigrant Rights Project, one of several groups bringing the class action lawsuit against the Trump administration. The statute makes clear that they are entitled to a bond hearing, but now the agencies are attempting to rewrite the law, and they're adopting this draconian interpretation. Immigration lawyers say the new policy is causing catastrophic harm. The lawsuit was filed against top Trump administration officials, including DHS Secretary Kristi Noem and Attorney General Pam Bondi. It also targets the immigration court in Adelanto, California, where the administration's policy has been implemented and bond hearings are routinely being denied. Adams calls the policy change arbitrary and capricious, and a violation of immigrants' due process rights. He says it is already causing catastrophic and irreparable harm to as many as tens of thousands of non-citizens and their families, as they could end up spending months or years in detention before their cases are resolved. Ana Franco Galdames is one of the named plaintiffs. A single mother who's been in the U.S. for more than 20 years, she is the sole provider for her 2 children who are U.S. citizens and recently completed treatment for breast cancer. Since being arrested and detained after a large immigration raid in Los Angeles, she has already missed an important follow-up mammogram, according to the complaint. Others included in the proposed class action include a 65-year-old father and sole provider for 3 U.S. citizen children who all have severe cognitive disabilities, as well as a father of 3 who has a 7-month-old who is recently hospitalized. All have strong ties to the community. Their lawyers say, no criminal past, and do not present a flight risk or danger to others. They're deprived of their liberty, separated from their families, separated from their homes, and from their jobs. Adams says, the impact is not only on them, but also on their children who are so dependent upon them. Earlier this year, Adams filed a similar class action suit in Tacoma, Washington, after immigration judges there had been denying bail for years, using a legal reasoning similar to the Trump administration's approach. That case includes a woman who has lived in Washington state for nearly 2 decades and has 6 U.S. citizen children, including a 7-year-old with terminal cancer. A federal judge recently issued a preliminary injunction in that case, finding it was likely to succeed. Like a sleight of hand trick, when the Trump administration declared its nationwide policy about-face in July, immigration lawyers say they were blindsided. Many only learned of the change when bail requests that had been routinely granted for decades were suddenly denied across the board. I was absolutely shocked. It's like they flipped their understanding of the statute on its head, says Nico Thompson-Laras, a defense attorney with the Coalition for Humane Immigrant Rights, recalling his bond request for a client in California just days after the administration's complete turnaround. It was almost like a sleight of hand trick. Thompson-Laras says his client, Ananias Pascual, would have been a shoo-in for a release on bond in the past. He's a 40-something father of 4 U.S. citizens who's been working and paying taxes for decades with no criminal record and is not a flight risk, Thompson-Laras says. He came to court with 85 pages of evidence to prove it. But we didn't even get to the case, Thompson-Laras says. It was cut off at the knees. The government's attorney laid out this argument that we had never heard before, and before we knew it, bond was denied, and we sort of walked out in a daze. Pascual is one of a growing number of attorneys around the nation challenging the new policy, with habeas corpus claims in federal court, arguing they were unlawfully detained and denied their due process rights. A group claim, including Pascual, will also be part of the class action lawsuit. It's like going over the head of the immigration courts. Basically, we're trying everything we can do, any conceivable strategy, Thompson-Lara says. Unlike criminal and civil courts, immigration judges fall under the executive branch. They've been under increasing pressure to fall in line with the Trump administration's hardline immigration stance. 6 months in, that includes a massive expansion of arrests, detention, and deportations of people in the U.S. without legal status. DHS officials did not respond to requests for comment specifically on the legal challenges, but DHS spokeswoman McLaughlin offered, "Politicians and activists can cry wolf all they want, but it won't deter this administration from keeping these criminals and lawbreakers off American streets." Congress could step in and clarify or change the bond law, legal experts say, but short of that, the lawsuits to block the administration's new policy are likely to continue all the way up to the U.S. Supreme Court. Former immigration judge Andrew Arthur, now a fellow with the Center for Immigration Studies, which favors strict immigration limits and enforcement, hopes the administration's interpretation will prevail. The reason for the law is to ensure that those individuals show up for immigration court. It's safer for the community. It's safer for the foreign national. It's safer for the agents, and cheaper, Arthur says. In certain extreme cases, non-citizens can apply for parole on humanitarian grounds, which Arthur says is the proper pathway for individuals in the United States illegally. But immigration lawyers say those requests haven't been successful either. Many in detention are deciding they'd rather give up their cases and leave. Already, many migrants stuck in detention are unwilling or unable to wait there while their case plays out in the courts. "It's really bad and unbearable just to stay there more," says 25-year-old Alfredo Lelo. Juarez Zeffirino, who was picked up 4 months ago, denied bail, and held in ICE detention in Tacoma. He says sleep is hard to come by in the facility, which he describes as packed and loud, with lights kept on all night and fights frequently breaking out. He says the food is often undercooked, and dinner is sometimes not served until the wee hours of the next morning. The GEO Group, a private company that runs the detention facility, did not respond specifically to Juarez Zeffirino's complaints, but said in a statement to NPR, compliance with ICE standards is strictly monitored and any problems are quickly resolved. About a week ago, Juarez Zeffirino decided he'd had enough. After 17 years in the U.S., he gave up, left 2 siblings who are U.S. citizens, and returned to Mexico. "It was hard, but there wasn't anything else I could do," he told NPR from Mexico. He also believes it is precisely the Trump administration's goal. "I truly do think that they want to make it as hard as they can to make everybody get out," he says. "They make it more difficult, so people just leave."